What's up, guys? Broadway Blue Bleeder here, back better than ever. Just came back from a great week vacation. I have a bunch of new shit going on in my life. Got a new job, a new location, took some time off, went to Atlantic City, didn't lose too much money, did put some future bets on the New York Rangers, because of course I would. Why wouldn't I? And like I said, we're back better than ever. I'm really excited to be back. I haven't done much of this for the past week and a half, 2 weeks. Like I said, I've been going through a lot. But I'm really excited to come back. I was hoping there'd be some more news, but we do have big news that we will dive into very, very shortly here on this episode. Of course, brand new Monday Musings coming at you. I will be sitting in my new job by the time this video drops, so fingers crossed that everything goes well for me tomorrow. I appreciate the love, the support that's been going out. My last video absolutely blew up. You guys are fucking amazing. I cannot thank you guys enough. I've been loving the conversations I've had with people, been loving the messages. It's just been great. It's been a lot of fun to do. This started out as something small just to pass the time when I had my broken wrist, and it's turned into a passion that I really love doing, so I really, really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I am still looking for a video editor, so if anybody out there watching this is looking to do some small work on the side, please let me know. You can send me an email at my website, BroadwayBlueBleeder.com. Just scroll down to the comment section, send me a quick message, let me know, and we'll get some business going. That would be awesome. Just some small time stuff that I'm looking to do. You know, that's the basics of it. Like I said, we can talk if anybody out there is doing it, or if you know somebody that wants to do it, please have them reach out to me. Stay till the end of this video. I have a huge announcement that I want to make. I am doing a giveaway once we hit a certain number of people, so please stay tuned to the end to find out how you can enter yourself in that. You don't want to miss it. And I think that's it for announcements. I'm going to come out and just say that I'm going to be doing these Monday Musings probably every 2 weeks until things start picking up again. There's not a lot to do every week to pick brains on, things like that. So I will probably just be doing 2-week recaps until the season starts, or until preseason camp starts, all that good stuff starts. I do have my shorts page, which I found out I believe is now in this corner. I think I'm doing this right. Hopefully I don't look like a fool. Click here and go to my shorts page, subscribe while you're there. Check out some of the past videos. I have some report cards on Rangers that I still have to finish, and some news that I do daily. So if anything small happens, I'm going to break it down there in between the Monday Musings videos. If there is big news, big trades, big anything that happens in the meantime, I will probably do an emergency video. I do want to kind of start doing some of these live, so if anybody out there wants to see that, please let me know in the comments below. We can get some live videos going, get some conversations going, which I think would be great. You know, Ranger fans are very knowledgeable when they want to be. We're not all stupid. So it would be great to have some conversations. I know, there's conversations going on now that are great to have. If you guys want to see some of that in the future, like I said, just let me know, and we'll go there. So every 2 weeks. Otherwise, you can find more news, small things like that, over on my shorts page, as I said. Big news did happen in the past 2 weeks since I did my last video. We do have a new head coach. Gerard Gallant has been hired as the New York Rangers' next head coach. Very excited to see him here. I think he's going to bring a lot of good stuff to the table. A lot of people were coming out and saying that I hated Gallant, didn't want him as a coach. That's not true. I think what Gallant can bring to this team is going to be exciting. But as far as coaching prospects were out there, it was meh. There wasn't any, there wasn't a Brenda Moore, there wasn't a Cooper, there wasn't a Bordeaux, there wasn't anybody big out there, Trotz, the names, that would have blown us away. But out of the picks that were there, I feel Gallant was the 110% best option for this team, given what's been going on with this team and how quickly they kind of want to make this build happen even faster. I think he's a great hire for that next step. I think he's going to get the most out of this team. His players really seem to love him. They really like to play for him. And he's a good coach to play for. He's definitely a player's coach. I did mention in my last video, just want to jump out there, that Quinn was a player's coach and Gallant was more tactical. I mean that in the sense that players didn't mind playing for Quinn. I know a lot of people say he had a hard time reaching the vets. I don't think that's true at all. the vets had some of their best seasons under Quinn, and it's not because he was a tactical guy. He didn't make the adjustments, in between periods. He wasn't an X's and O's guy saying this is the plays we're running. He was more of a developmental, players-friendly coach, and that's why he was brought on. I'm not saying he was a coach that players would have ran through brick walls for, like Rod Brindamore, but I'm just saying, the players didn't mind playing for him. They liked playing for him. They responded well to whatever it was, what kind of connection he had. Zibanejad had his best seasons. Panarin, Strome, Buchnevich, Kreider, you name it, the list goes on and on. Same thing with putting some of these guys, the kids on the fourth line. It's because he was easing them in. They didn't need to jump right into the first line and play first line minutes their first season. Loff and Kakko and not Buch, Kravtsov, Hedl, and the kids. And I think a lot of people kind of got that confused. I think Gallant is he's definitely a player's coach. He still has players in Florida asking why he was fired, which I'll get to in a second. But he's also tactical. He may not be making those in-game adjustments as well as other coaches do, but he knows what he's doing. He kind of leaves the lines alone for the most part, which is a huge thing this team needs. And I'll get into more of him later, but I think just his style is kind of more complete than Quinn's. Quinn was definitely a player's coach. He wasn't a tactical coach, like I said. He wasn't an X and O's coach. And I think it's going to be a different style for this team, which is going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be good for the vets. It's going to be good for the rookies. It's going to be good for the kids. Everybody should play well under Gallant. I just think there is a kind of a misconception that Quinn just was there, and I don't think that's the case. Ask around the league, ask players. Besides, I think it was Spooner, he was the only one, and he played, I think, 6 games for the Rangers while Quinn was here, so I don't really take his opinion to heart. The players liked playing for him, and it showed. So we'll see what happens with Gallant. Players love playing for him. Totally different kind of coach. I think it's going to be an exciting time. Like I said, he was the best of what was out there. And the Florida players, for those that don't know, Gallant had stops in Columbus, Florida, and Vegas. Each of his stops ended after 3 years. Not many people have discussed the whole Columbus thing. I'm not sure what happened with him there. I do know Florida, it wasn't a performance issue. Florida, the reason he was let go, they kind of cleaned house from top to bottom. Gallant, over the summer, I believe, talked to the beat writer for the Florida Panthers. I can't remember his name right now, and it escapes me. I apologize. But reached out to him and even had said, I have a feeling I'm going to be fired. And he was fired. He knew it was coming. Florida players had asked for the entire rest of the season because he was fired. I believe it was on Thanksgiving. There is a famous picture of him getting into a cab. That was a fucking fiasco. But the players were asking why. Why did we fire him? Why is he gone? He was a great coach. The players loved playing for him. He had a young core of Barkov, Ekblad. He had Yager there. And then these guys were starting to play as they should be playing. Yager was playing with the kids, which is something that I'm very excited to see next season with Panarin, hopefully playing with either Kakko or Lafreniere. There was a blurb about Kakko not being preferred by Panarin to play with him. It kind of got blown out of proportion. That was more, apparently there was a report out there by Rick Harpanella that said that Panarin preferred to play with Blackwell over Kakko. Quinn usually would defer the decision. And a lot of people are like, oh, he doesn't want to play with him, blah, blah, blah. I think it was more the fact that Blackwell is not still learning how to be a two-way player. He's not learning how to be an NHLer. He's not a rookie. He's not 20 years old. He's been in the league a while, and I think that's all that was. I don't think that was a shot at Kakko. I think that line might actually be very well next year, depending on who's centering them. I think they're going to be more potent than other lines, in the league, and I think that's a very exciting thing to see Kakko and Panarin together, but I digress. Totally got off track. But the players loved him. Same thing in Vegas. It wasn't performance. I think Vegas, it was more, Peter DeBoer was out there. Vegas kind of saw him as a better option than Gallant. Kind of like I said in the beginning, Gallant's not a bad coach. He's just the best of what was out there at the time. Something better came along, something shinier. They let go of Gallant. Peter DeBoer got hired. Vegas players loved playing for him too. They still say great things about him. There's a reason why he did coach Canada for the juniors team. There's a reason why he won with Canada for the juniors team, and everybody's blowing that out of proportion as well. That means absolutely jack shit here in the NHL, but it's a good sign that he can get the best out of his players, which is something this team is sorely lacking. So he's definitely the type of, like I said in the beginning, he's definitely going to be the coach that should have been hired to have this team take that next step, whether it be the playoffs, whether it be a deep run. whatever it be. In the meantime, there was a press conference between Drury and Gallant, I shouldn't say between them. Drury did come out and say that while the playoffs would be great to see the season, it's not the end-all be-all. Kind of goes against what Sather's been saying, that the whole reason JD and Gorton were fired was because of performance reasons. I think we all kind of see through that now. We all kind of know what really went on there. We're not going to rehash that. But the conference itself was telling, specifically with some things that Gerard Gallant had said. One of the big things that a lot of people kind of overreacted to, whatever it may be, I kind of touched on it before. Gallant did say kids don't really learn anything from being on the fourth line, which got a lot of people excited, meaning the kids are going to get more time. They're going to be playing on the first and second lines, first and second power plays, etc., yada, yada, yada. Stuff Quinn basically didn't do. And a lot of people were quick to point this out with Kravtsov, Kakko, Loff. Gauthier is a big one. But again, as I mentioned before, Quinn didn't really do wrong by them putting them on those lines. They were being eased in. Kaapo Kakko had one of the worst rookie seasons of all time and had a great sophomore season. His defense was outstanding. Again, I've mentioned something that nobody ever thought they would say in the same breath with Kaapo Kakko. Look at the season that I'm drawing complete blanks. Fox was even better. Lindgren was better. Keandre Miller. Everybody played better. And it was an important time for the kids. Important time for the kids to get these minutes, but especially the forwards and the skill players. But letting them ease in on the fourth line, I think, helped Kakko more than it hurt him. Yes, he had a horrible first season, one to forget. But again, his second season was great, and it's just, I was rambling, I think, for a second. Sorry, totally lost track. Fourth line. The bottom line is people were overreacting to Gallant, thinking it was a slap in the face of Quinn. I don't think it was really a slap in the face, but it is exciting to hear a coach say that kids don't belong on the fourth line, but they have to earn it. One of the big players, I think, if he is not either taken by Seattle, would be a huge benefit from this would be Julien Gauthier. I think he would be great on the third line. He was a fourth line guy that was buried under Quinn. Didn't get a lot of time to shine, but I think his skill set is something Gallant kind of covets. And I think if he sticks around, he's going to be a big part of this team, especially on the third line next year with, an unshaky bottom six for the Rangers. He could bring some stability to that team, to that line. He compared, which again, I've mentioned this before, he compared his time in Florida with Ekblad, Barkov, and Jonathan Huberdeau to having Loff and Kaapo Kakko. Guys that were rookies, had good seasons, and they kind of shown a little bit more as they gathered, as they gained more traction, and then by year three, they were full-on superstars. Not all of them, but they broke out. And I hope Gallant gets to do that with the guys that are on this team come opening night, which brings us to July, this coming month being probably one of the biggest months in New York Rangers history. Many things are dropping this month. We have the expansion draft, we have the entry draft, we have free agency. All by the end of July is going to happen. We need to know front office movements from Drury, because front office still hasn't been completely filled out, nor has the entire coaching staff. We have to know who's going to be protected, who's going over to Seattle. What moves are we making in free agency? All of these questions will be answered by the end of July. I have been saying it's going to be a New York Rangers bumpy summer. I think this is the time we really need to start buckling up. Things are about to get turbulent. Rumors have been flying rampant already, especially regarding Jack Eichel. A lot of people out there saying the Rangers are in on Eichel. A lot of people saying the Rangers are out on Eichel. Reports this team's are in, this team's out, yada, yada, yada. I personally don't think the Rangers will be out until it is officially done. Whether they get Eichel or they don't get him, that is the only time the Rangers will be officially out on Eichel. I know people are out there worried about his neck and his health and his leadership and this and that. I don't see how you can turn down a top 10 talent, maybe top 5 center when healthy, top 5 center talent in the league when healthy, and say no to that. The Rangers have a dearth of forwards. They have a lot of depth there, and they're going to have to move pieces. They cannot pay everybody. They cannot keep everybody. Same thing with defense. You have somebody like Adam Fox, who's a finesse puck mover, Norris Trophy winner, you name it, he can do it. but his skill set's similar to that of Zach Jones, not Libor Hayek. Can't believe I compared the two. Don't even scratch that out. Nils Lundqvist is who I meant to say. So given that you already have an Adam Fox, why are you getting two more players that can play similar styles to him? Yes, it's great to have that, but you can't win with three offensive defensemen playing on the on the wings, on the right side. It's going to have to happen. There's going to be some trades, and I personally would love to have Eichel. And a lot of people, again, are worried that that's going to be at the expense of Zibanejad, but I think the intention is to have both of them. They're not going to trade to get Eichel and let Zibanejad walk. Then they're going to be in the same position next year, or when Zibanejad contract up and they let him go. I think, this is the core that they want is in place. Now they just have to fill out the rest of this lineup with seasoned veterans or the big time guys. We have Panarin. We need centers. We don't have centers right now. Strome is a serviceable center, number 2 center, but I don't think he's a true number 2 center. I think if we could have a combination of a true number 1 and a true number 2 with Zibanejad and whoever else may be, our top 2 lines can arguably at the end of the season be maybe 2 of the best top lines in the league. There's the talent. We definitely have the talent. People have to get moved. It's going to be unfortunate. I think there's going to be some shocking players being moved. I think Booch is going to go. I really hope he doesn't. I really love the guy's style. I love his play. I think he would be great under Gallant. But there's also some contracts blocking some of these kids as well in Chris Kreider. I know he has a no movement clause. People are saying he's not going anywhere. You'd be surprised what a little persuasion could do. If Gallant comes up to him and tells him, hey, you're going to be a bottom 6 forward here, ride the bench and get maybe 10 minutes a night. Who knows? Maybe he's like, okay, let's go somewhere else and see if we can win somewhere. Or maybe he goes to Seattle and he's the captain out there and they build the team around him and they have a Vegas situation. Who knows? I think there's going to be a lot of people being moved. But I think it's going to be exciting. I hope, people also realize that some of these trades that they're expecting to happen with Eichel and that are going to include Laf, Kakko, Keandre Miller, and Fox just to start, you're crazy. It is not going to be that whatsoever. It's going to be a lot less than people think. It's going to be expensive. It's going to sting. But if it leads to a cup, I really don't care. And I hate to say that, but I'm more about a Rangers fan than, the players that play for them. I'd rather see just the cup come to New York. I think we all would. Speaking of which, thank fucking God the Islanders lost. Holy fucking shit. I'm sure I'm not the only Rangers fan sitting on the edge of the seat watching that game. Could not believe they were that close. Kind of know what it felt like for Islander fans for the last 10 years when we've been to 96 games. I think 96 or 94 playoff games. They probably thought hoped we would lose every single one of them. But thank God they lost. Tampa Bay still fucking cheaters. Can't believe Montreal's in the cup. I don't really give a fuck who wins, if anybody's asking. As I did mention before, the Rangers are going to be looking at some big name players. Another big rumor that came out is Tkachuk is unhappy in his current situation. He would be a huge get for the New York Rangers. That would check the box for physical, gritty, scorer. Problem is he's a winger. Problem is he's going to need to get paid next season. Problem is it's going to take a lot of assets to go and get him. Is he worth it? I think so, but that might be, option B if they do lose out on Eichel. Maybe they send a couple centers over there, a couple wingers, and we replace them with Tkachuk. I think he would be phenomenal for the Rangers. It would be a great get. Probably not going to happen, but you never know. You have some other guys out there like Blake Coleman who could come and be an instant upgrade with the Rangers. He wins cups everywhere he goes. Casey Cizikas, I know a lot of people probably don't want to hear his name from the Islanders, but he would be huge for the fourth line grit toughness. There's Zach Hyman as well. I think his cost is going to be a little too much. I don't think the Rangers are going to get him, but he could be another top 6 grit type player, kind of like a Chuck. But like I said, it's all going to happen in July, and it's all going to be very interesting. Just throwing some names out there that we could potentially make some replacements. I really do think Morgan Barron's going to be a lock for a bottom 6, maybe top 9 forward spot. He's probably going to be on the 3rd line. He may start on the 4th line. He's a great grit, tough guy, big-bodied center down in Hartford. I've talked about him a lot. I would love a line with maybe him, Casey Cizikas, and Kevin Rooney, who might also be taking the expansion draft. that would be a great line to have. And then we could have a third line centering around Heedle and whoever else we can get. Heedle's another one. Who knows if he's going to be a center moving forward? I don't personally think his skill set has blossomed enough for him to be a center. I think he'd be more suited at a wing. But he was on a good pace until his injury and COVID happened this past season, so we don't know. Next year is another big year. That's, another thing. A lot of these kids haven't played a full season. Kakko's never played a full season. Loff hasn't played a full season. It'll be very interesting to see how they do playing an actual full season of NHL hockey for the first time from training camp through playoffs, hopefully. One of the biggest things that a lot of people have been harping on, speaking of seasons going without things, Rangers haven't had a captain since they traded Ryan McDonough. This was something Chris Drury touched on. He says he kind of wants the captaincy to happen organically, didn't really want to force it, but there was a lot of leadership that shone brightly last year in the second half of the season. Second half of the season last year, leadership. Where have I heard that before? Oh, that's right. Number 8, Jacob Trouba. Captain Jacob. Capital C, Jacob Trouba. He is going to be the captain. I've been saying this for months. It's going to happen. They've been pushing his leadership down our throats. Not down our throats, it's happening organically. They did mention, he stepped into the locker room, took over the reins when Quinn didn't go in during one of the games. And he was obviously very, very, very much missed in that defensive room once he went down with the injury against the fucking Islanders. He's going to be the captain. Happened organically. There was names like Kreider, there was a Benajad, but they never were named. There's a reason for that. Just maybe they're not leaders. That doesn't mean they're not good. It doesn't mean they can't lead the team they're on, but they're just not captain leaders. I also think the whole captaincy is blown a little bit out of proportion. It's nice to have them, but I don't think it's the end-all be-all, but that's a whole nother argument for a different day. But that's, like I said, that's all going to happen in July. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be bumpy. It's going to be a lot of fun. I just have a couple names that I had for some free agency players that the Rangers potentially could look at depending on price tag. It's tough to really gauge price tags in the NHL, because especially with the salary cap block and everything like that. So who knows what these contracts are going to be looking like. Some centers names that pop out. You got Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Travis Deneau, you got Krejci, Kuznetsov, Paul Stastny. Big name floating around out there is Elias Pettersson. He would have to be offer sheeted. Don't think the Rangers offer sheet. Larry Brooks, Click King himself, had said a couple weeks ago on Blue Shirts Breakaway that the reason he thinks it won't happen, it kind of makes sense. Offer sheeting isn't something really happening in the NHL. It's not a big thing. So if the Rangers start doing it, they have a lot of young guys that are could be offer sheeted and could really screw over the Rangers if they start doing it. They kind of fear retaliation. I think it's bullshit. I think offer sheets would be a great way to add talent at an inexpensive price to the team acquiring them. Rangers don't need first round picks, for an example. Elias Pettersson, you're going to have to sign him and give up 3 first round picks. Fine. Rangers don't need first round picks right now. They have plenty of kids. They just need small pieces to add and finish this team. Not small in the sense of name small. Small is in the sense of they don't need a lot of holes to be filled. Fine, give up 3 first round picks for the next 3 years. I'll take Pettersson on, no problem. Easy enough. But obviously if he gets offer sheeted and they match, then they have to pay what's matched. So the Rangers could get screwed in the fact that these prices could go up and they can't sign everybody. I think it's kind of crap. Whatever. So those are some signers, some wings. I really like Gabriel Landeskog, but I've heard that he is potentially re-signing in Colorado. I think he would have been a nice get here as a plan B, plan C, given, depending on what happens with the center. Zach Hyman, I mentioned before, I think he's going to be a little too much for us. Some D, you have David Savard, Alec Martinez, you got Brendan Smith, who I still think the Rangers should re-sign to a cheat next year. They do want some depth D, whether that be half D, 6-man or 7-man in, whatever it may be, just a vet kind of guy to be there in case something happens. Don't really have much else for today, just wanted to do a quick rundown like I said. I mentioned in the beginning that I would have an announcement. We are at 54 subscribers as of right now. When we hit 100, I will be giving away a New York Rangers signed puck, and I did decide it will be a Mike Richter signed puck. I do have it here. Actually, it's right here. Whoop, as I knock everything down. New York Rangers Mike Richter signed puck. Beckett Authentication Services. 100th subscriber. Once we hit there, I'll put all the names into like a randomizer. We'll send it out when somebody will get this puck. So tell your friends, share it, like, comment, subscribe. Once we hit 100, I'm just going to have to get it, we'll get there and we'll go over the details once we hit it. But like, comment, subscribe as much as you can. I do have the shorts page, like I said. All my my social media handles could be found on my website, BroadwayBlueBleeder.com. Hopefully we get some more big news to break to you guys in 2 weeks. Until then, as always, thank you very much. Let's go Rangers.